Thank you. So I've got the great pleasure of presenting for Meteoric Resources today. Andrew Tunks is unfortunately in lockdown in Melbourne, and yeah, he's pretty disappointed that he's not here. He's definitely a great presenter, so I'm not sure I'll live up to his standards, but look, we have got a great story to present today. I'm focused on the WA project, which is a recent acquisition by Meteoric, but we do also have a project in Brazil. So we've got 3 drill rigs running at the moment across 2 continents. So a diamond and an RC rig in the north of Western Australia in the Kimberley, and a rig running in Brazil. So today's talk will focus primarily on the West Australian asset which we acquired in July. So the disclaimer, I'll urge you to have a look at that in your own time. So corporate overview, again, I won't focus too much on this. I'll get into the actual talk and talk about rocks and the gold project that we've acquired. Look, we've got 5.5 million in the bank, so we're well funded, got a sensational managing director and board, all supportive. We're packed with geos. We've got Pat, who's a lawyer, but we've got primarily a geology board, so always keen to get out there and do exploration. So as I've mentioned, we've got 2 projects. We've got a recent acquisition, Palm Springs Gold Project in the Kimberley of Western Australia. As I mentioned, it's been only a few months. We've quickly progressed to getting the data together, getting drill rigs in the field, and I'm happy to report that the drilling is going extremely well. We're hitting our targets right where we plan to hit our targets, and the production rates from Strike and from Terra Drilling are sensational. We've also got our project in Brazil, so there has been some significant drill intercepts from Brazil, and there's a rig currently drilling there as we speak. There's a great shot of the diamond drill rig in action. That's the first hole we collared at Palm Springs. There is a significant amount of historical data in terms of the drilling that was done at the project. The mine was mined between 95 and 97, and the reason why the mine stopped production was due to a low gold price. Again, I'll talk more about the potential that we've got at this location, but there's significant potential for near mine production, and the upside in terms of defining more ounces is incredible. So there's a map showing you the project location. We're situated 25 kilometres to the east of Halls Creek on the Duncan Highway. So it's a great access to the project, and there's a significant amount of gold occurrences on the tenement package that we have. It consists of 3 mining leases, which is very, very handy. So any production that we want to get into in the near term, we've got a green light in terms of the mining leases in place, and the upside potential on a regional perspective is significant. So let's jump into the geology. When I went to go and commence the due diligence for this project, I went to the vendor's location in South Perth, and he took me out to the back room and said, okay, that set of files there, that bookcase of the files there, and here's the paper cross sections. That was it. That's all he had. So what you can see on the screen there now was one of the paper sections, and you can see that pink line running through, which is the bottom of the pit. So sitting underneath that pit floor, it's probably going to be a bit hard for you guys to read it, but there's grades there, 32 grams per tonne, there's 45s, there's 50s, there is significant gold mineralisation with significant intercepts. So I'll just put this into a bit more context. There's that same section. There's the planned pit that they had from 1995. As I mentioned, the gold price in 1997, because I remember it well, I was in Kalgoorlie, the gold price plummeted. There's the gold mineralisation based on the interp on the paper section. That's where they stopped mining in 1997, because they were producing at $550 an ounce and they were selling it for $500. So in short, what PMA did is the pre-strip of stage 2 pit, and they've left all the ore in the floor. So again, there's that section. There's the gold interpretate, or the mineralisation interp. We're talking 35 metres wide, so this is no small ore body. It's significant. And as I mentioned, some of those grades in the intercept are just ounce per tonne dirt and above. In conjunction with doing the due diligence and assisting Pat to get the acquisition complete, I went through a process with a number of other geos and assistants to get the stuff from paper into a digital format. And here's what I've come up with. So I've done a re-interp of the area, and that's in the yellow. So that's the host rock unit, the trachyte andesite. And essentially it's in an anticline formation. And you can see there that where they've mined in that south end, they mined no ounces out of that south end. They pretty much mined the waste, got to the ore zone, and then they shut the mine. What's significant with this image as well is that along strike to the south, there was only a total of 6 drill holes. 4 of them were very, very close to the crest of the pit, and then you can see there's like those 2 green drill holes. They're historical drill holes, and so it's basically, I'll show you the intercept. I'll bring it up. There you go. It's 73 metres at 2.3, sitting approximately 40 metres along strike from that open pit. So we've got a great deal of confidence from a very, very limited amount of drilling that this trachyte andesite tracks down plunge and along strike. So the drill program initially, we just wanted to go and verify this historical mineralisation. Most of the drilling was in the early 90s, and just test my interp. So we hit the mineralisation within a metre of what we anticipated to hit the mineralisation at. So very, very confident. We've got a handle on the historical information. Now we're going about trying to expand the resource, and that's primarily by chasing that high-grade mineralisation with big, broad intercepts along to the south. So that's our main focus at this point, is to prove up the mineralisation at the Butchers Creek open pit and test it along strike. We've got a huge land package out in the Kimberley that surrounds the Butchers Creek. And what I find very interesting is that PMA really just were hand to mouth. They only targeted that anticline. And what we've demonstrated with some of our initial drilling with the diamond core is that there is potential to hit what I call parasitic folds on the main fold zone. So we're seeing that in a couple of locations already, and there's also potential for syncline mineralisation. So we're putting all of the geochem, we're doing a lithostructural interpretation, we're getting our understanding from Butchers Creek, then we're going to take more of a regional approach. And we think that the potential in this area to find similar deposits to Butchers Creek is significant. So there's just a bit of a recap. That was, again, reproduced from a paper section. And again, it's very, very clear that the stage that PMA left it was in a situation where they mined waste, they got to the ore zone, and then they shut the mine. You can see there that there was a fairly significant processing facility on site. That note obviously is not on site at the moment, but there is potential toll treating opportunities within the Halls Creek area. So obviously we're taking it one step at a time. We want to go and show that the ore's there, get it modelled up into a JORC resource, get some engineers involved, look at expanding the open pit to the south, and then we can start to look at how we're going to process material. Back in the 90s, there was the metallurgy was fantastic, 90% recoveries, and it has got a high nugget component. In the andesite, the andesite sort of grades at the 2 to 3 grams a tonne, but in that fold hinge zone, you've got late stage veining with significant high grades. So our focus again is going to be on that fold hinge area, but the potential within that andesite to bulk ton it is significant. There's just a picture of where our proposed drill program. So as I mentioned, we're currently underway. We've drilled about 7 holes to date. The production rates from the drilling is fantastic, and everything is going to plan. So, as I mentioned, we're doing a lithostructural interpretation. We're putting all the geochem available data together, and we're going to take a holistic approach to our land package up in the Kimberley, and we've got high expectations. So just quickly on Brazil, as I mentioned, I haven't been involved with this project, but I've certainly been tracking it as a shareholder, and some of the results are absolutely outstanding. You can see there that 20 metres at 94 grams. In 2019, I think Meteoric had one of the best gold hits in the world. So it's still early days, but you're talking about a big system over in Brazil. And more recently, we've hit a significant 9 metres at 1.5% copper. So there's potential for a large porphyry system. So, these things potentially are deep and expensive to explore, but, Pete and Andrew are putting the runs on the board in Brazil. And, if this porphyry and the copper gold porphyry system comes up, then I'm sure there'll be big players that will start to show some interest in this project. So the current resource at the Jarina project is 260,000 ounces. As I mentioned, there is a drill rig currently drilling on site as we speak, and the intention is to increase that size of that resource, as well as look at it from a regional perspective and follow up on that recent copper gold hit. There's a picture of Terra drilling. That was the first hole again. So that tested this parasitic syncline situation to the west. And again, I think there's upside potential there to expand outside of the known Butchers Creek anticline. So we'll get the results back in mid-October, late October, with regards to those initial holes. And all going well, then we could open up further opportunities within that Butchers Creek area. But we're focusing on the anticline to the south in the short term, and I'm anticipating that we'll replicate some of those outstanding intercepts from the 90s. Thank you.
Well done. And you came in with a minute